welcome to Realscape, the series where my RuneScape account progresses only as much as I do in real life. By mapping each of the 23 skills in RuneScape to corresponding abilities and hobbies, I seek to progress through my real-world goals alongside my Ironman account. Every time I level up a skill in the game, I have to level up its corresponding real-world skill to match it before I can log in again. The goal is to become as passionate and dedicated in life as I have been in OSRS, all while chasing the questscape on my Ironman account. This is Realscape. Now that we've laid out the premise in episode 1, there are so many different possibilities on what to do next. Generally speaking, I know that I want to knock out all of the free-to-play quests before buying a membership for this account, so I'll try to do as many of these smaller quests in the episodes to come. With most quests giving unique XP rewards, we'll also be mindful of the real work we'll have to do as we move along. As mentioned before, we'll also talk about the progressions for each skill as they appear, but honestly, I'm just pretty excited to get started, so let's go! Since we're playing on a hardcore Ironman account, a good idea would be to get some early combat levels to make future combat a bit easier. So, I've pulled out the free-to-play quests that contain combat bonuses as XP rewards. These include the Restless Ghost, Witch's Potion, Imp Capture, Vampire Slayer, Dragon Slayer, and X marks the spot if you count the Antique Lamp reward. Now, since Dragon Slayer requires 32 quest points and the ability to defeat a level 83 dragon to even start the quest, I'll have to save it for a future date, which leaves us with just 5 potential combat reward quests. If you remember from the last episode, the combat skills in-game translate to real-life fitness metrics, so it looks like we'll be hitting the gym today. But before we go, we need to make a plan. And before we make a gym plan, I need to explain how these new mappings work. For most fitness metrics, a new level will be reached once I have successfully completed a 5x5 routine at a new weight. So it's not quite enough to just lift a new weight once, we'll have to be able to lift it for at least 5 times over the course of 5 sets. This is true for our bench press, squat, row, deadlift, and overhead press levels. All of these goals will also start at 45 pounds and max out at 245 pounds. With the exception of overhead press, which maxes out as seemingly more reasonable 145 pounds, meaning that once we are able to bench 245 pounds for example, we'll be able to get 99 strength in-game. For someone as weak and skinny as I am, these goals will not be easy, which is why the prospect of accomplishing them is so exciting. The remaining fitness skills map a little bit differently, including pull-ups, which max out at 20 pull-ups for a 5x5 routine from an initial 0, and hit points, which max out at 170 pounds for my initial 130. Since I've been underweight most of my life, gaining 40 pounds will probably be one of the most difficult grinds, but should hopefully develop passively as I become stronger in my other skills. We'll also go more in depth with the Slayer and Agility skills in a future episode when we've unlocked pay-to-play quests. So, now that we have a rough overview of how these fitness goals will progress, we can take a look at our current quests. Because both Witch's Potion and Imp Catcher reward magic XP, we'll be needing to do both some deadlifts and some overhead press from the Restless Ghost quest. Since we'll also be doing pull-ups for Vampire Slayer, I figured it would be a good idea to get a current checkpoint for a variety of fitness metrics while we're at the gym. This checkpoint will help us know where we are at right now for various exercises and enable us to complete a few of these quests without having to run to and back from the gym after each one. Whatever real level we reach will serve as an upper bound for what we're able to currently get in game, and help us kickstart the account's combat training. For completing these quests, we'll need at least level 10 deadlifts and overhead press, along with level 20 pull-ups, but honestly I think we can get a pretty comfortable buffer out of this trip. In case you didn't do the math, we'll need to add 2 pounds of weight for every level up in these exercises, and 1 pound of weight for every level in overhead press. We'll also need to gain half a pound of body weight for every hit point level we want in the game. Fortunately, getting some attack levels should be pretty straightforward while I'm lightweight, as each additional pull-up in the 5x5 translates to 5 attack levels in game. With the conversions in mind, we can now begin our grind. I've never recorded myself in the gym before, so I tried to pick a time that wasn't so busy. Even just setting up the camera felt pretty weird. Since we're still on a free-to-play account, I'll be shooting for around level 40 for most of these skills. Because I've been casually going to the gym since starting recording of episode 1 a few years ago, I had a rough estimate of what I could do for a 5x5 in each exercise. What I really wanted to avoid was falling short of a 5x5 and not getting any progress today, so I tried to be a bit conservative with my guesses, while also trying to get as many levels as I could. Since I struggle with bench, I started there. Level 40 would require me to add 80 pounds to the bar's weight of 45 pounds, so I added 40 on each side after warming up with the bar. Although the last few sets were tough, I was able to squeeze them out with the right music and motivation. Level 40 bench press unlocked right off the bat. From there, I switched over to pull-ups. I was already feeling a bit fried, so I went for a more modest goal of 6 pull-ups. This would only clear me to level 30 attack in game, but it was better than nothing. I definitely struggled to keep my core engaged, but after 5 sets, the benchmark was set. I went ahead and shot for the same level 30 goal for squats, deadlifts, and rows, nothing too crazy, other than realizing my legs are very weak. So, 5 exercises down, 1 to go. Now, as I loaded up the bar for overhead press, I realized how hard this skill is going to be to develop. Even just a couple of pounds felt like a stretch for my current shoulder strength. To avoid leaving empty-handed, I loaded 5 pounds on each side, 10 pounds total, and pushed it out. After our 5th set, we were done with our benchmark. All in all, we unlocked level 40 strength, level 30 for attack, defense, range, and magic, and level 10 prayer. Furthermore, since it had been over a year since I was released from the hospital, I remeasured my weight to see that we're all the way up to level 40 hit points. Huge progress from the 130 pounds we weighed last year. Thank you, peanut butter. We can finally go back to the account and claim our quest rewards. So, now that we're back on the account and have a pretty sizable buffer in real life levels, we can complete our quest with no issue. Starting with the Restless Ghost, we just need to speak with the Lumbridge Priest, go across the swamp, pick up a missing skull, and we're back. Quest complete. We're also about 1 bone burial away from reaching level 10 prayer, which is our current cap, so I'll make sure to bury a bone in a few minutes to reach our current max. From here, we transition to Witch's Potion. This quest is no big deal. You just need a few ingredients for a witch who teaches us how to make a magic potion. We will need an onion, a rat's tail, an eye of newt, and some burnt meat. So we can walk over to the cows here, get a quick kill, grab some meat, and simply burn the meat. Well, I guess that means we're done playing for now? God dang it. I wasn't expecting to do this episode, but if we want to continue playing, I need to get level 2 cooking in real life. For leveling up cooking, I'm going to have to make 98 unique recipes. Some of these recipes will also coincide with recipes in-game. So what better way to get level 2 cooking than by cooking one of the few things level 1s can cook? Beef. Also, it happens to be one of the few things in my fridge. So, to get level 2 cooking in real life, I'm going to cook some beef. Back in my kitchen, I started by marinating the beef. I let that sit for a while I cut some vegetables for the fried rice. You can probably tell I don't have too much experience cooking, but at this point, I'm hungry enough to eat anything. Throw those veggies in some hot oil, add some kimchi, add my rice, and start searing my beef. If I knew better, I probably could have avoided burning my marinade, but I honestly don't know what I'm doing. So I flip my steak, serve my rice, fry some eggs, and done. It's not fantastic, but it's edible, and it'll help me gain weight. Level 2 cooking complete. After that detour, we can finally continue with the quest. The rest of the quest is super straightforward. Deliver the ingredients to the witch, and done. A couple of magic levels to boot. From there, we walk to South Falador, where I would be spawned killing some imps to complete our upcoming Imp Catcher quest. Since we're still level 1 on all of our melee skills, this was pretty rough. Not to mention the imps constantly teleported away to some unreachable areas. But eventually, with only 1 duplicate, we collected all 4 of the missing magical beads, enabling us to walk back to the wizard tower and collect our new Best in Slot necklace for the account. And another quest done. Because Vampire Slayer is the next quest on our list, and since we have a new Best in Slot necklace, I figured it would be a good time to grind out some combat levels on the account to match with our real life current level caps. So, like most level 3s, I walked over to East Lumbridge and began the grind. After I got level 20 attack, I walked over to the Barbarian Village and claimed the account's 10k starting cash from the security stronghold. Way more than I needed to buy a Mithril Scimitar from the Al-Kharid Skimmy shop. This new weapon will help me train much quicker than the original training sword. With this in place, I returned to East Lumbridge and continued the grind. After a day or 2 of playing on mobile, in the bathroom, we reached level 25 attack, 35 strength, 25 defense, 10 prayer, and 30 hit points. We still have some wiggle room between our in-game levels and real-life max, but that can help us from accidentally over-leveling and getting locked out of the account. We should be more than qualified to finish Vampire Slayer, our final quest of the day. For this final quest, we need to kill a local vampire, but even with our new combat skills, we cannot simply kill him quite yet. We need to go around town, pick up some garlic, a hammer, and a stake to properly finish the job. Now that we've gotten our tools and an inventory of kebabs, along with our Mithril Scimitar, it's time for the fight. Although the vampire regenerates health quite quickly, we came out victorious and received nearly 5,000 attack experience as a reward. All in all, we completed 4 new quests, obtained a current best in slot weapon and amulet, and started our gym and cooking grinds. But it's only the beginning. Join me on the next episode of Realscape, where we continue our progress in RuneScape and in life. If you enjoyed this episode of Realscape, please consider subscribing. If you missed our previous episode, click here to relive the journey. Thanks.